Hi everyone, welcome to CP US History. This video will show you some more specific details about the syllabus that the infographic may not have. So if you're watching this, you'll have a little bit more detail about the course than you would have got on the infographic. So here we go. This stuff is already what you saw on the infographic, but I've broken it down now by semester, so you can see that the first 4 units will be covered in the first semester. So dating back to the very beginning, how we sort of establish our country, all the way through industrialization and responses to industrialization. Second semester goes boom and bust in the 1920s and 30s, and then into the World Wars and then the Civil Rights movements. My hope is that we can move quickly enough and thoroughly enough that we can get through this material to be able to get through the 80s and a little bit into today, but we will see what we're able to cover. How are you going to be assessed? This is also covered on the infographic, but I'll explain that a little bit more clearly. Essentially, everything that we do, assessments, projects, quizzes, tests, whatever it is, will all be 85% of the grade. The final exam will be 15% of the grade, and homework does not count. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't do your homework, because I'll explain that in a future slide. Homework is still assessed, meaning you're still given feedback on it, and you're still able to practice the information, but it doesn't count as a grade. Homework essentially is a assessment for learning, not of learning, meaning that you do homework to learn, not to be graded on what you've learned. And so homework is an opportunity to practice the skills and the information that we've covered, that needs to be covered in class. And so it's not graded. However, it is important for you to do because it will allow you to revise tests and it will help you on the test in general. So if you're someone who doesn't usually do homework, I would suggest that maybe you might want to, because it's very important for this type of class. And that brings us to the time management piece. Time management is essentially how effectively you are managing your time. And this is an important piece, and you get rewarded for the things that you do. Assessments and projects, essentially how it works on the rubric scale will be exemplary, at standard, in progress, and not present. And you can read how time management affects this. You're able to earn 2 extra points on your assignments, whatever the assessments are, for coming to me and seeking feedback ahead of time, because that shows me that you're taking the time out of your schedule to come and seek feedback on something to make it better. And the chances are that if you seek feedback early and before it's due, you're probably going to do better on it, regardless if you understand it fully or not, because I have a chance to look it over, I can edit it and help you think about different things and different ways to do so. So this is an incredibly effective way to be sure that you do well on an assessment. And given how much they're worth, it's probably worth your while. Homework, this is just based on your simple completion of the unit, and as well as how well you are turning it in on time. So the grade will actually not just be overall completion, but will be simply, are you turning it in on time? And that will go in the grade book, but it's just as a marker for you to see, for me to see, for your parents to see, not something that will be actually affecting your grade. If anything, it'll be 0.0000001% of your grade, so not really effective. And it's also assessed on a time management rubric strand similar to this. And so, coming to revisions, when it comes to an assessment, you need to have submitted your assessment on time. If you turn it in on time, you can revise. Simple as that. And for tests, you need to have completed, I don't know if we'll necessarily have study guides that you need to submit, but I put it on here just in case, but you need to have completed all of your homework by the day of the test. If all of your homework is not done by the day of the test, you will not be able to revise your test. Again, if you do not complete all of your homework by the day of our test, you will not be able to revise it. So again, doing your homework is imperative to being able to do well on the test, as well as being able to revise in case you have a day where you suddenly don't do well on the test. Okay, the biggest piece outside of all of this, and I'll add into this, is just being communicative with me. We all have busy schedules, things happen, we can't always get things done when things need to get done. I'm pretty flexible, but I'm only really flexible and willing to work with you if you take the time out of your day to talk to me ahead of time. Coming into class and just saying, oh, I didn't do my homework, or I couldn't get it done because of this, and this, and this, doesn't really work. you need to make yourself communicative ahead of time. Come seek me out, send me an email, whatever, and we can work something out. I'm pretty flexible. I'm willing to work with you guys. You just need to communicate with me ahead of time about what is needed, and I'm willing to work with you. I'm looking forward to a great class. Hope all this makes sense. And if anything in here doesn't, please let me know. And I'll see you in class.